Hey! There's a Chris Brown dance where he's going like this, and I'm like, I'm gonna learn it because I want to do that. I want to do that so bad. Anyways, Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens end racism. They ended it. They didn't even need Martin Luther King for this. Martin Luther King ain't even need it, man. Fred Hampton ain't even need it, man. They ended it right here in this video. We about to hear this, right? They ended it. They buried it. They bodied it. They bodied it. I love the trolling. Let's get it. Let's go. No time to waste. Boom.
Alright, so I'll start off with my credentials since apparently they matter.
Oh, they definitely don't matter.
I'm an 8-year military veteran. I'm a college student. I'm a black woman. And I believe that white privilege doesn't exist. So we're gonna
shout out to the black woman. Yeah. She's a veteran too. Man, she ready. She ready for this.
Start with that.
Thank you for your service.
And the reason why
thank you for your service, baby.
This is because you guys refuse to acknowledge the history that put people in this position. You want to tell me that white privilege doesn't exist when white people had an upper hand for 250 years to develop generational wealth, and that black people didn't get the right to vote until the 60s, and you're going to tell me that white privilege doesn't exist? So that sounds like...
Hold on, before she keeps going. There's a very good video. I'm gonna try to get it on the page so that you guys can see it. But it's from Van Lathan and his I can't remember his co-host name, but Van Lathan and the co-host, where he debated somebody named Larry Elder. And I want you guys to watch this video because the way she just went about it, in my opinion, is the wrong way to go about it. How you should approach people like Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens is by letting them talk about all the things that happened in the 60s and the 80s, and then go find things in the 60s and 80s that prove what they're talking about is bullshit. Like that black people did better in the 60s and 80s, that the times were better in the 60s and 80s, and that the government had nothing to do with anything that happened. Find all those things and then discuss those things with those two, and I guarantee you it's going to make them look fucking horrible. And the reason why I pointed out the Van Lathan video is because literally Larry Elder was trying to say shit like black people, just, didn't do things for their families and they just gave up their families when the Democratic Party came in and offered something. No. It was shit like urban development came in and fucked up a whole bunch of shit within the black community. It was stuff like redlining. He explained it in detail so that Larry Elder couldn't run from trying to ignore those certain things that caused the black community to be in the position that they're in today. So starting from emotion is not a good way to start, and I feel like she's doing that to a degree because she doesn't like personally them. You got to start from what talking points they use, go into the talking point, find an example within the talking point that proves the talking point is full of shit, and that's really how you destroy Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. I just gave you the blueprint. Literally.
So first of all, what's funny about that is blacks were doing better during that time. Why do we always call people black?
What I just tell you, blacks were doing better during that time period. These are the talking points that they use. So you have to go in and figure out, were blacks doing better? What was going on that was making blacks do better? And what happened to where black people are in the situation today? All of it is systematic. All of it is. But they will deny systematic racism while saying they're doing better, and then try to add in some fake shit like, oh, the fathers all left the home. And can't explain why the fathers left the home. The fathers just left the home. Black people just shoot and kill each other in record numbers, and we don't know why they do it. They just do it, They're implying inheritance. They're implying that that's the culture without trying to imply it, but not going into slight details like hoods were filled up with crack and a bunch of businesses moved out of those hoods. And then areas were redlined where there was more less money was invested in the areas that were red line compared to the areas that weren't. They don't talk about none of that kind of shit. Let's keep going.
Why we just be black people? Can't we just be African Americans or something? Why are we just
black community? How would you like it said? What makes you feel better on the inside?
Really, anything else other than what you're saying?
Tell me. I'll say how you want
anything
it.
Else
I'll how you need it. Tell me what makes you feel
literally
better.
Anything else other than what you're saying.
Okay, anything else. Why is that anything else, right? In the Jim Crow era, blacks were doing better. Economically, we're outpacing whites. Under the Jim Crow era, then we are doing that.
That's just factually incorrect. They were outpacing white. We've never been at a point where we've outpaced white people. Ever. I'm not even. I don't even think if we're arguing per capita, we've ever been in that point. Matter of fact, let's fact check it right now. Did blacks outpace white people during the Jim Crow era? Let's fact check it right now. That's a powerful, nuanced question during... Okay, hold on. Here's the breakdown of the process. More than half blacks. Constitution, black entrepreneurship. An article in culture summary. So blacks didn't outpace whites over due to institutionalized racism. Listen to this. This is the summary of everything it just told me. So while blacks didn't outpace whites due to institutionalized racism, they made extraordinary progress in many areas, in so many categories like literature, growth, urban development, culture, agriculture, all kinds of stuff like that. Let me know specifically. Okay, so basically, we make progress, but we didn't ever outpace whites. We didn't outpace whites. Just fact check these people as we go along. You got to do that.
It has to do with the fact that we had our own communities before the KKK came and burned them down.
The KKK were Democrats, but give me a second. So after $22 trillion of government handouts and a black president
after how many years of slavery and 44 white presidents, 44 white male presidents, 97% white male Congress.
So you're actually the reason why people like us can't do well, because they sold to our oppression and you bought it. Blacks were doing better under the Jim Crow
If you
era.
acknowledge the oppression of
And just fucking think about what she's really saying. Blacks were doing better when they were oppressed, being put in trees. Just think about what she's saying. Like, just literally think about what she's saying. And completely ignoring Rosewood, Tulsa, the many massacres. There's many massacres that happened. We were doing better during that time. Wow.
Other people, we can heal from it.
No, we
but if
can't.
you want
No,
to
we
ignore
can't.
it, we
We
won't
can't.
have anything happen.
That's not how this works. Dialogue and acknowledging things doesn't make us suddenly rich.
So,
Don't get it twisted though. I love Candace. She's a black woman, and I respect her opinion. And I think some of the things she says, Louis Farrakhan and I don't know. Louis Farrakhan has said. I'm trying to think of the other name, but I can't think of the name of the guy. But I'm not all the things she says are incorrect. But like what she just said was incorrect. Fact checked.
there's a question I do want to ask, which I can't seem to get an answer. What can she not do in America that a white person can do? What opportunity? You served in the military. You've made good choices. You're getting rewarded for them. You're going to live in the American middle class. What privilege do I have that you don't have that is based on skin color, not on wealth or socioeconomic status? Please.
The fact
You're taking more seriously, Charlie Kirk. That's all we're saying. Like I've worked in management. Working in management as a black manager is the most difficult thing. If you talk to black managers, it could ever fucking be. Getting people to listen, getting people to take you seriously. Like shit, like you having to cut your hair in order to look professional. Like your hairstyles can't even be considered professional. You're constantly on a day-to-day basis dealing with indirect comments that are directed at you not being qualified enough or ready enough. There's a black manager I've been around, right? Where I've had people at the job literally say they just don't like him. They don't even know why. He's a good manager. They just don't like him. It's like, come on, man. Like corporate America is definitely a complicated place for black people, but I'm not saying it isn't getting better. I'm not saying it isn't getting better. There's just this underlying conversation that we need to have. Like, that's what it is, man.
that you are sitting here with like little to no education trying to talk to people about white privilege is white privilege.
Tell me one thing I said that's wrong, and don't.
Damn, that's a good point. Like, you little to no education on anything. Yeah, that's true. Charlie Kirk has not been to school. He has not learned anything about anything. No disrespect to him at all, but he has not learned anything about any of the topics that he's talking about. And he is taken more seriously with what he has to say. That is crazy. That is crazy when you really think about it.
Use an argument from authority.
That's like so
Make a good argument.
I have a good
Don't
I'm
cite
arguing
your
from
credentials.
authority
I have
because I'm
a
telling
degree.
you my life
That's
experience.
not your life experience.
Name one,
Really? I'm sorry. Did you like my
thing.
life?
That means
Did
nothing.
you like my life?
That means
Name
that's
one
a degree.
thing
You're not smarter
that
than
you
me because you have a
can't
degree.
do
Just so you know,
that
that's a
I
fallacy.
can do.
That's a fallacy.
Name one.
Yes, she is. She's not. She is. She's more educated. She is more educated than him. Maybe in the specific area. I don't know what her degree is in. Let's figure it out.
Thing that you can't do that I can do.
I don't know. I can't make a whole $1.
What? You can't? Why?
Oh my God.
You're trying to tell me in the military women aren't paid the same as men for equal work?
In the military, up until 2 years ago, women weren't even allowed to do most of the jobs that
Answer the
men
question. You just said you couldn't make it.
She just answered your question. She literally just answered your question.
You
Up
said
until
you-
2 years ago, women were not allowed to do the same things in the military that you were. Now they can though. So I guess he's kind of right. With now they can, but still, that's a good area she went to. That's
Now
really
make a
smart.
dollar. You serve in the military. Which
Not
is
to mention that people in the military actually get paid a bullshit wage, but we're not going to talk about that.
Now we're moving
Yeah,
on.
let's talk about.
Let's
Let's
nothing
talk
to do
about
with
for a
skin
second
color.
that you want to say that
What-
everyone in the military
what can I not
paid a
do?
shitty wage, so that makes it right.
They also sell. There's so many different ways they sell your oppression, and she has purchased all of them today. So right now we are on sexism, right? So she's saying that I can't make a full dollar. Yes, you can. If women stop going in,
I bet he got paid more to be here than you did.
Speaking, okay. If women stop going into career fields like fashion and Vogue and journalism,
psychology.
and we start going into fields like
Engineering.
like engineering and
Business.
more academics,
Finance.
we will make the exact same money that
If not
men.
more.
The wage gap is a myth and a
A myth.
lie. Myth and
Amen.
a lie. Okay.
The wage gap is not a myth. It's just based on a bunch of different variations. There is a wage gap, but it's just based on different reasons. It's not a myth. It actually exists. It actually exists, but it's a multivariated concept, and like people kind of do need to look more into it for the reasons why. But if women shape the dynamic and change the reasons why, there'll be a lot less homes. There'll be a lot less kids. There'll be a lot less people born. That's why I think in the next generation we will see a change because a lot of women are starting to go into the STEM fields more.
That's it.
It's actually a myth and a lie. I understand that you need to be oppressed, but you have just heard from two black people that haven't purchased their oppression from the Democrat Party. Respect that.
And what frustrates me is you've served our country, which deserves to be applauded, and you have lived a life of a victor, and you have the gumption to tell me you're a victim without evidence. You were not able to cite one thing that you cannot do that I can do. If you make good choices, you will get those choices rewarded. And you brought zero evidence except an argument from an authority and an insult to my lack of a college degree, of which I am so proud of because I'm not indoctrinated because I didn't go to college.
Yeah, we need to stop. But I do think you got to be careful with that, Charlie Kirk. Stop making intelligence seem like it's a bad thing. Like they're learning, they're understanding. But anyways, though, I'm out, y'all. Peace.